Well, yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Um, yeah, music for our ears.
Oh yeah, which
Good.
is called Small Data Talks.
It is. It is.
Episode 2, live episode 2, right?
That's absolutely correct.
Um, do you hear some noises coming from my side?
I do.
I do. You do, sorry. So there were some noises on Mac M4 Pro fans, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Um,
What are you doing with it, man?
so what do I do? I do as usual, like every year, I'm jumping on World Community Group Initiative, powered by Boinc, B-O-I-N-C client. So B-O-I-N-C is a software to. It's really irritating, by the way, right now. Let me stop the computation process. Um, yeah. So it usually runs when I work. I don't know, 50% maybe, or maybe at 10 sometimes because yeah, sometimes I'm okay. Now it's getting better. Um, mm,
Side effect. Temperature in the room is getting higher.
with Mac, not so much, I would say. GVN
Really?
compilation on x86, that makes it
Okay.
that makes it hot.
Okay.
um, yeah. So and I'm participating again in that initiative, volunteering like computation power, a bit of electricity, I would say,
Hmm.
because I would guess that CPU computations using ARM 64V8, I guess that's the full name for architecture, at least used in Docker,
Okay.
for Apple Silicon, are one of the most energy efficient like processors. So like if we compute how many, I don't know, matrix multiplications on per watt of energy, I guess that could be quite an efficient thingy.
Usually people ask me this question, but that here we are. I can ask this question. How much Apple pays you for saying these words?
Unfortunately, Apple has listened to all our podcasts in Russian language, so they banned me from any advocates program or ambassador program. Damn it. Unfortunately, nothing. But that could be a nice trick, by the way, to show, hey, our M chips are for science or something like that. So that could be nice. Unfortunately, it doesn't use Apple GPU,
Mm.
um, so no metal actually, nor an ANE, and
No metal.
that's cool. I like it. I haven't started OBS. What the hell of a streamer am I? And it doesn't use an ANE, unfortunately. So
Just
and
pure CPU.
yeah, it's pure CPU. That's why it's getting so hot and pretty fast, I would say. But okay, there are like 16 or how many? 16 and 12 or 12, something like that. Processes actually, right? I'm not sure if each process spawns multiple threads or not, but it's the first time. So first time I tried it 2 months ago, and it was not so intense, I would say. But I also tried like to load like 100 CPU cores with 100 CPU load, whatever 100 means. I mean, Mac OS it's a bit, I guess. So yeah, and
100 parrots. I'm just thinking that it's getting warmer in Europe, and that's why it's getting hotter. Uh,
could be. It's plus 12 outside right now. It was plus 19 today, and for you, I guess it's even better conditions.
it's almost the same, I think. 10 right now. So,
Okay, you see, Germany is even warmer now, right? By the way, today is Friday, 4th of April 2025. I want to insert these timestamps not to lose the sense of time.
okay.
Um, yeah, and I wanted to add. Sorry, I like immediately stand up with my uh, Apple ambassador check-in video. Maybe I passed the interview. I don't know. I just saw like yesterday or 2 days ago pieces of software. Background is that we know that ChatGPT released this image generator like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, so we can create image with that.
You mean
And
another one?
it's not DAL E, right? They say it's not DAL E, or maybe it's some version of DAL E, but it's definitely way cooler. So especially when one modifies pictures. I mean, generation also works perfectly, but the modification looks like wow, that's awesome.
Oh yes, the one that uses one of the cartoon or anime
Mm.
studio style. I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do like Miyazaki style animations that was famous for, and I guess another like I would guess it even was like ads of some sort, where a lady was lazy to work and she was kind of so you can replace background similarly. So she replaced background as she took like a photo in subway with proper numberings on the background, like she's right now running to work or something like that. So I was thinking, okay, we have Olama on Mac, which runs nicely, and I recently tried multi-model Phi 4 or Phi 4, whatever we call it, from Microsoft. So there are two models, Phi 4 Mini and Phi 4, like, and they're slightly different, I guess. But I guess it's just like some kind of pruning and compression of the model from large to mini, and it seems to be it's advertised by Microsoft. So you see, I'm trying to apply to many places. Funk still, yeah, it pays a lot more. So they say that this 5.4 model is the most capable model among the ones that you can self-host, and that is very capable of tool usage, which was not really seen nicely in the other models. So I guess Llama 3.2, for example, is not so capable. I haven't done any investigations on my own because to connect agents and so on, I wouldn't say it's non-trivial, but it takes a time, and I mean, I don't have spare time for that. But anyway, that works nicely. And I realized that recently, instead of going to, let's say, our internal systems to run some ChatGPT or Claude, because of confidentiality of information, we cannot use open source LLMs. I realized it's sometimes faster to spin up Llama, chat with it shortly, and it gives like pretty decent answers. Of course, given you know the problem and good enough.
Okay.
But I wanted to say that I was thinking, okay, so what about image generation? If we can do this stuff on Apple GPU, maybe we can do image generation as well. So yes, we can. I haven't made it running yet, but I found some piece of software, and like a lot of what I gone through is actually quite fresh. Like GitHub repos are only like 5-6 months old, some like only 2 months old. So it seems like
It's
people
time
are
to create a new one.
probably we will actually, because I seriously have a plan for have us a stream on wipe code, and like everybody does it, we don't. Why not? So yeah, one can do some kind of a minimalistic stable diffusion on Mac. Not sure how capable it is in really generating, but I will try. I will try to make that stuff running somehow. So yeah,
Nice.
2 advocate videos are done. Thank you for
Yeah,
listening.
to add to that promotion speech, uh, I think we shouldn't, and our audience shouldn't expect anything promoting Linux because they don't pay money, right?
What can I say? I mean, I'm the main advocate of any Linux, and I guess you are as well, right? Of open source stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you don't write Rust, why the hell you are needed for Linux community? No one will read your PRs ever.
or will blame you for all the sins have ever existed. Um, yeah. So, image generation, AI, artificial intelligence, not mess with Apple intelligence, right?
So yeah, I see you also trying to get into the ship. Yeah.
I would like to get my 50 cents. um, where where the hell the whole world is going with all this stuff?
I almost started to talk about that I would like to have a timestamps on our videos because of that. So that it's like second day or first day after new tariffs maybe to be implemented across the world, and we are to see the huge inflation, or maybe it's just okay.
I see you want to ride the hype wave.
Yeah,
Uh, I cannot
hype,
say.
hype, wipe, wave. You should show something of this like bad joke picture of what of some sort. Yeah, exactly.
So I have one article that I've read this week, and I've shared that with you earlier.
Yeah.
The article is based on the Bill Gates speech during event promoting for the Netflix documentary series What's Next? The Future with Bill Gates, surprisingly. Uh, so, what? How do you think? What did he say?
Um, I tried to read it thoroughly, but I couldn't push myself into it. I had to admit. So I actually pushed Grok to read it. So that's why I'm not sure if what I got is too biased already. um, so I tried to skim with that by saying like translate it to Russian and back to kind of maybe get the neutral kind of feeling from that. But from what I understood, the point is that the point that Bill Gates maybe again, I'm not sure if that's what he really wants to say, but it felt to me that like humanity would go through like huge transformation, and especially that comes to labor market, to labor as we know it as of now, and he draw like a standard, I would say. We discuss it in every podcast, like a standard line of the life of people will change. It's another like labor type mechanistic revolution. Now it's about AI. So like the social and other changes are to come. So we'll have to adopt, and most of the stuff, whatever you call it, will be done by AI of some sort. Which I read as, are we like, do we need humanity in general? And again, like one portion of skepticism comes into, okay, can't really, is AI really capable? But I mean, are horses capable? Are cars capable? So I guess maybe Bill Gates tried to do like a similar questioning, like, come on, now we don't need horses so much, right? It's more like elite thingy. Maybe in future cars will be elite thingy. Maybe in future knowing how to work on a keyboard will be elite thingy that no one actually needs, something like that. And on the other side, looking at on the bright side of things, I was quite skeptic about large language models like 3 years ago. There was like, for example, T5 from Google, which I tried to chat with, and I said it in one of the stand-ups, like, no way, like in near future, we can replace our information extraction pipelines with any of that sort. How wrong was I?
Yeah, imagine he's talking about. You said it's future, but he's talking about next 10 years. It's kind of two sides of the coin. You can think about it as like far future because 10 years, like many things can change in 10 years. But at the same time, you just said that just 3 years ago, you had an absolutely different opinion.
Yeah.
So it's 3 times 3 years. So I think many can change, but we briefly touched that topic last time. I'm still skeptical, even about ChatGPT and large language models. It feels that they can do a lot, but I cannot see how the things can work without human supervision, which is quite
That's
opposite to Mr. Gates' idea, because he says it will be free and it will be used for medical advice, tutoring, etc. I don't know.
that's also interesting. So I guess the point is that in both our speeches we're saying I don't see that ABC cannot be done by large language models, right? Is it our problem? So maybe, because the vision of Bill Gates is probably can be supported by a certain amount of money, and it could be as well that, I know, let's say in half a year we see that Microsoft announces some kind of another overpowered, I don't know, robotics model. The robotics is actually on the hype as well, right? So the model that are capable of getting a nice representation of people's moving and conducting some tasks. So who knows? Maybe it's already also some kind of a pitch of the futuristic vision of him. So maybe it's also like he says that, and it may be creating market possibilities and just changing slowly minds of people saying, hey, Bill Gates mentioned that, so maybe it's not wrong. Maybe we should prepare for that proactively.
Yeah. Well, it seems that he's not like some guy on the internet, right? Random guy. I mean, he has some insights. He knows something. He has a lot of experience and a lot of money to that can like play different for the different teams. Like
Yeah.
as you said, it probably can be done uh, to to kind of reveal partially what he knows, that something is going to happen soon. Or we can look at it from another angle and say that he is saying that to I don't know, to raise some additional money, investment, etc. So I'm not very aware of what he is doing these days and how much he is interested in commercial products. But maybe that's also one of the things that he's trying to do.
We also haven't chatted for a while, so I'm not really sure what happens. um, yeah, I mean, is it just market adjustment, or is he already, let's say, thinking too big and understands, I know, society much deeper? I'm not sure. I have to admit. So I still trying to be like skeptic or maybe over skeptic, and maybe it's also like some kind of a let me be again on a hype wave. Uh, Protectionistic for myself, for the way I live my life, kind of saying, yeah, no way, no way. It's DevOps is not possible without people. Uh, how many papers or blog posts I read about like new Kubernetes agent that will do X, Y, Z for you, not cost computations, like really analyzing the stuff. And in the episode 0 that we don't know if we release or not, we discussed about one tool. I don't remember the name right now, but the idea is that you have your standard Kubernetes management tool, like seeing workloads, pods, virtual services, whatever. And you also have AI. So you also have a Helm chart that installs a piece of software, which is basically sending all your metrics across the whole stack and events to some model of your choice, by the way. And the secret sauce is probably how this stuff is prompted. such that it gives you, so you can kind of investigate problems with that, and also it can give some kind of general advice. Like for example, your workload was low last week, so maybe you can scale down your EC2, whatever. Um, Saying that, I'm like, okay, so there is actually a space for it, and I'm trying to protect myself from thinking that too much, probably, because otherwise, what should I do with that information? I would say. So
Just
maybe,
it just can help you increase your stress level.
yeah, or maybe we should like start a business saying, hey, we follow the vision of Bill Gates today, and we envisioned. Yeah. So I'm looking at books. Okay, books are okay. That's failed already. So I see a wonderful wonderful candle here.
Okay, nice.
By the way, coming from city of Almaty, Kazakhstan.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
Nice.
present from my friend and his wife.
Nice.
So yeah, beautiful thingy. At that moment when they bought it, I realized that Kazakhstan is not cheap in some ways. I would say. Um, but I mean, that's a city of Almaty. I mean, yes, other cities can be way cheaper, of course. So can we do candles with AI? Stupid question, and one would ask, why the hell, right? Can we do candles with our people? Yes, for sure. Do we need so many candles?
That's an interesting point. Recently, I took a master class in candle making.
Uh, I have to interrupt you. Let me. I
Go for
sorry,
it.
sorry, man. I have to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I need to switch my camera to OBS, and I want to like to make it black and white. I cannot. Okay, I will return. Anyway, want to make a point. The second camera, which is not working, that we will need so many candles because electricity will be eaten by AI.
That is good and best and worst thing at the same time that I've heard this evening. Yeah.
So you said it about the chorus.
Yes, master class for candle making. So what I did there, I just like mixed different types of fragrance from small bottles. Well, I could do that, but I ended up with just one single bottle. And you warm it up, boil it, and not boil, just warm it up, and then pour it into the form. In my case, it was half of coconut. It's a really interesting idea. And basically that's it. But if you do it only like this way, and now he disappeared, if you do it only this way, you have to live with fact that it will have absolutely plain color. So you can choose the color like any of your choice, but you need to do something with that candle after that. So you can use needle or painting brush to add. I'm talking about painting brushes, and now you hear in black and white. Uh, so, uh, what I was talking about is that when you made a candle, you pour wax in it, and you're waiting once it's getting colder and not liquid anymore, and you can paint something on top of it. You can decide what you want. You can like add some, I don't know, flowers, plants. You can add some decorations, not just I mean colors, but I don't know, seashells, maybe some tree seeds, something else, and you're creating some new stuff. It was long way to come to the idea that if you don't like all this thing, but you're really interested in getting something that is looking good, that look nice, you want to have it in your living room, then you can buy it without making the candle, right? And the AI tools can generate images or visual ideas that can be used to prepare these candles without like manufacturing them using human work, for example. So we can use these tools for generating some things. Many artists and many musicians and many other creative people, they are against the AI boom because they think it's still their jobs. But at the same time, if you can have if you can be sure that your salary will be the same, that your income won't change, then why don't we use AI for like everything that we can?
I guess it's a strong assumption, like that nothing will change. Maybe it's too strong. Like if, say again, the same like issue regarding the ChatGPT image generator. I guess just because, so maybe there are better image generations. I'm pretty sure there are. Since it gained so much attention recently, and maybe it's only my bubble, that's also possible, right? But it seems to be like to get more and more attention. So, and I've heard many stories now. Maybe there are just anecdotes, but I can imagine that could be partially true. That people working as designers, art designers, art directors, having a hard time. So they have to rethink the whole process. They now probably need less people, and some people are losing their jobs. And that's a like anecdote that we always repeat, right? I wanted AI to do a cleaning job and like maybe sort my dishwashing machine, not draw pictures for me and not write music for me. So that's an interesting question, and I guess it all boils down to that we need to invite someone who works maybe in research for AI, and AI security, alignment, and maybe even social sciences, because it's really far away from technical things. It's much closer to social science, to the dynamics of our society, and maybe economics. So, yeah, we are here just trying to like find our way in this kind of current, and there is definitely, I feel the current. Maybe it's because my job is very related to that, so I'm using it every day. But when people ask me like, "Are you a data scientist? Are you?" Today, today is Friday, by the way. I don't stop to remind, and that's why, because
What can be better than Friday?
um,
It's Friday evening.
yeah, indeed, with small data talks. Um, with small data talks. That's the thing. Yeah. So my day started basically with a call at. Okay, it was a call at 9, but then I had a call at 10 with a DevOps. I mean, we should make it a proper like chapter, ADEX and DevOps. Um, so, and that's the same guy basically that I work with on pretty tiny service actually. Service is small. CI/CD around that is huge actually. So he started like, hey, can we have a quick call? Yeah, positive, definitely. Nothing against that. So we really like resolve something. So it was just a minor change needed. So I finished at 7 p.m. today, like on the like really last mile, trying to push that service, such that it works, such that root of services works, such certification works. Yeah, what could have been like very tiny thing started like to be big. And at that call at 10, I told him, hey, we do like Friday deployments. And he was like, yeah, we do. For him, it was like 10:30 p.m. when he finished. Friday evening, like, not sure he enjoyed that. And he asked me, okay, so what do you do like normally? Like we have these DevOps chats and so on. And I said, okay, honestly, I have like too many meetings recently, and I enjoy meetings with DevOps people because it feels good that some stuff is getting into production. And that, but you're like data scientist. Do you train models of some sort, some fancy stuff?
Yeah,
What can I say?
I
So
talked to ChatGPT. So
yeah,
that
usually
what
yes.
I would
Yeah,
answer.
I train ChatGPT with my data, fine tuning it.
By the way, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, if you see the ChatGPT memories, right? When I opened it, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that you know so much from me. Maybe ChatGPT knows me better than who anybody else.
Uh, I don't know if you finished the
No, I just wanted
I
to say
did
that, I
yeah.
mean, I'm not data scientist. We call us API consumers because we don't do anything else actually.
Nice.
My next team should be called like not metadata, how's it called, metadata processing team?
Macro data
Macro data.
refinement.
Macro data refinement team, yeah. Not macro data
MDR.
refinement team, but API consumers. That's fair.
Speaking of ChatGPT memories,
Hmm.
I call them memories, but it's memory. Anyway, so I use ChatGPT, and from time to time, my wife asks me to share this account so she can ask something when I don't need it. Interestingly, I noticed that every time I ask something from ChatGPT, first of all, I only ask purely technical questions. And when she asks ChatGPT about something, it's more humane way of talking to like to a friend or to like I don't know to um, a phone calling service or something like that. And ChatGPT knows much more about her than about me. But because she uses our family's single account, ChatGPT doesn't know that it's talking to two different people, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and this is where interesting part comes. So, once I've tried to ask something regarding, I don't know, let's say Swift UI. And
Let's say.
let's say Swift UI. So I've tried to do something and store email in some specific way. And the email, like a sample or example email that it suggested to me in its code snippet, included my wife's name.
Whoa.
Can you imagine that? And at that point, I realized that there should be memory somewhere, and then I found it. But it was I was very surprised by that fact. So the more I talk to it, the more I have these facts or stories linked to her, which is okay because it's one single account, right? So it's not like protected by some
Yeah.
data protection mechanism. But anyway, in completely different chat, it was strange to see something from her data in code examples and code snippets that it generates.
That I realized it when I was. So I often ask ChatGPT to write me emails because I want them to be official style, and my writing in German is not optimal, let's say. So when I ask it like to write some email to a doctor again, and I so somehow mistyped it. So I started like, please write a mail to doctor about, and then I clicked enter instead of shift enter or something like that. And it wrote me a mail with my name, with some data it already knew. And I was like, okay, wait. That was like a bit too worrying to me because it was another new chat, not continuation of some other chat. So, and then I realized, okay, there are memories and you can clean up memories. And just like, okay, that's something new to me. I haven't checked it for a while. So maybe now there is a proper profile. And I just realized So Firefox recently, like 2 months ago or 3 months ago, announced that they do not support do not track tag or something. Oh, is it a tag or what is that?
It's an option that you can. It's a setting that you can specify in your web server, and when client retrieves some data, it can decide if it want to follow this instruction or not.
Yeah. I mean, we discussed ironically, right? But so it's not supported by Firefox, as I realized. And I also read that Firefox is to support web apps. I'm not even sure what web apps are, by the way. Like, what kind of stuff is that?
I would expect it to be something like Safari web apps. So
Yeah, something like that.
you can store web page as a not really. It's a bit different. So the web apps itself, I think it's something that can use some system APIs to control something outside of your browser.
I mean,
So it gives additional
okay.
functionality to the application that is running within the browser.
So you give some more rights to your sandbox where the browser runs, kind
Yeah.
of. Okay, let's ask Gemini, so it can criticize Firefox or something like that. By the way, I'm still using Firefox because I want Firefox to leave, like, really. And I recently found a position in Firefox, Mozilla Foundation, as an LP developer. So I was like, that sounds interesting, by the way. But I wanted to ask, hey, ChatGPT has our profiles, pretty decent ones. And they also say we don't use your data to train the model, but they never said they do not our data. They do not use our data for not heading advertisement toward us, right? So, but I'm just wondering how costly would it be to map our profiles to something different. So I know for sure that it was a large discussion recently, right? When it was about Google Chrome, right? That they wanted to support this new cookie type that basically increases your, like, you can be hidden way better from Google ads and Facebook ads and so on. I forgot the name of technology actually. But basically the idea is that there is a huge vector for each of us on somewhere in Google ads. And if this vector is similar to vector of like advertiser, then certain elements can be shown to us. I would expect that works right now like that. So which means that ChatGPT can have pretty, let's say, very high quality vectors describing us. So say we have in a vector in some form, I mean, some form means that it's not hard-coded dimensions. Dimensions are, yeah, as in word embeddings, like dimensions are not really encoding certain clear to understand feature. So before we'd imagine like something like, do you wear white clothes or not, right? So 1 or 0 for this vector element. Now it's a space of people wearing white clothes, for example, or even gray. So gray and white, maybe, who knows? So I just want to say that I'm not sure how costly it is because I'm pretty sure there are very cheap ways to actually reuse this data. So I'm wondering, does ChatGPT look at the direction? I mean, officially they should not, and they must not, but that's a nice way to actually have a very concise profiles of us. Not only covering our, let's say, things that we ask ChatGPT, which are often not so usual things. Let me write a letter to, I know, for example, the guy who can repair my dishwashing machine. I do that maybe once in my lifetime or 2 times. So it makes no sense to show me ads of dishwashing machines. I mean, no way, right? But it can maybe create some more better profiles of things that we do on a regular basis. Say wearing white clothes. Say knowing something about my schedule. Say something about my car and the how I drop it, or anything like that. So that's something interesting. I never thought of that, by the way, but pretty sure there is already huge businesses around that. So how to do this concise profiles of people.
This reminded me about Rabbit R1, the thing that you can hold on your chest and or keep it in your palm and talk to it, and it will perform some operations using API for you or on your behalf. And that was interesting idea, but the startup, that the production, that the popularity of this thing was quite low.
Let's say it was overcooked, I would say. In a way, the rabbit was overcooked. Ah,
That was
um,
good. That was good,
yeah.
I must admit.
I mean, just to say that, nice thingy to use. I mean, there is also another product, Apple Vision Pro, right? Which is not comparable in how many users were using that and number of features, but it's a kind of a gimmick. It's a cool thingy with very low user base that just shows, yeah, we can do that. Very similar to spaceships, actually. Okay, spaceships are like million times more expensive, but the idea is the same. Yes, we can do that. So spaceships with human do not make much sense at all. So wherein rabbit also probably didn't make, but maybe in some future we have a better and devices inspired by. And maybe Alex, you can talk about the Pebble.
Not much, really. We can touch that topic a little bit. I just wanted to add that this thing like Rabbit R1, I'm pretty sure it should perform better because it tries to integrate human voice and speech and what we are really trying to say with existing formalized APIs. So at that point, in that integration, I think it should work better than just like vague statement to ChatGPT that can, for example, control macOS. It cannot, but
It's somehow I'm tempted to like switch a topic to one of the topics we announced between each other in chat.
okay.
But it reminds me of like, what if this Rabbit R1 is connected to how the device is called from infamous Elon Musk. So this device to like understand the
Neuralink.
yeah Neuralink, exactly.
Okay.
So should be connected, right?
So that you don't
Unfortunately,
have to talk to it.
you don't have to talk to it, exactly. You just need to think about something. NPI call goes, and you're in waiting mode.
There is a problem with that. Not every thought that I have and process in my mind, I would like to be immediately executed or instantiated in real world. I think a lot, but only some of these thoughts I would like to apply to something. Like I think I want to immediately stop current live stream, but I don't mean it. I just think about it, and I think there is a huge gap between what I think about just because I can think, and some stuff that I think about because I want to find a way how to do it in real life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I hope this holds true for all of us, and I mean, just imagine
Yeah,
you
but
say,
I mean
"Hello,
not for
Rabbit, execute some."
not for Neuralink, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I also think that Neuralink is very generalistic. So I guess in order, for example, to understand which letter you kind of imagining right now, takes like cluster of GPU machines actually to understand that. So
But
it's
you have one, right? In your Apple MacBook M4 Pro.
oh yeah. Yeah, need some better voicing actually. 6 hours of meetings do not work nice for a voice, and we're unstoppable after that. I don't know why. Like I know many people saying like, "Come on, like 3 hours of meetings enough." I like my voice is tired. Like I'm done for today, and I'm just wondering how the hell we're like converting ourselves to speaking machines.
I interestingly, I've calculated how much hours I spent in meetings this week. This was really productive in terms of meetings week, and it seems that it's about 25 to 26 hours.
Whoa, That's a lot.
I thought like, okay, I hope maybe 1/5 or 1/6 of them was really productive, and we decided and agreed on something that could help the business, that could help ourselves to progress with stuff that we are doing. But I'm sure everything else is not as much effective because I think the conversation itself is not ideal way of communicating.
So
Remember,
Neuralink is right.
absolutely, absolutely. Remember that stuff when two different chatbots talk to each other and then they realize that they are chatbots and they switched to something else from natural language to the like artificial language they used to communicate faster. It's like it's true. It's scary that because they're doing something that you wouldn't maybe expect. But I mean, work meetings are not very productive in general. That's my understanding.
Interestingly, I also thought of that stuff on our last stream, and I thought of, is it? I want to repeat the experiment. So I realized, okay, I have Gemini access, I have like Claude, and maybe ChatGPT. What about repeating the experiment?
We can repeat it online in one of the next streams.
Yeah, I mean that calls for vibe coding. Yeah, I mean I hate the naming actually. Yeah, just too overhyped. Yeah, we can try that actually, but I'm not sure that now it will work. We can try to use some older models, but older models were not so capable. So the whole holy grail of the LLMs came when they what's it called? It's called emergent capabilities of LLMs. So something that we didn't expect the stuff to do. Like we never expected the stuff to write poems in certain style so good that they can be faked. And so there are many emergent things that those networks were not trained for on purpose. We trained them to like maybe write code nicely, which they do, but with that whole code stuff came many more into the play.
Or prescribe medication.
By the way, tried to actually today I tried to prompt ChatGPT, so the usual ChatGPT without so with all the normal people's guardrails, because I guess you can still establish in your like private deployments on Azure, you have some control over the guardrails power. You can make them much stricter to the normal, and so there are, if I remember that correctly, at least at the state of half a year ago, so maybe not more than, because Azure actually changes every like 2-3 months. They say now we are AI Foundry. Before it was something else. So anyway, UI is basically cool. So you had like 4 steps for guardrails power. It was like normal. You can make it light. You cannot switch them off completely for reasons, I guess. So I asked something, and just one token in the text was depression. So I tried to scam it many times, still having this depression token. I try to say that it's my dialogue with my doctor. I try to say that it's a theater play. I try to say that I need to modify this theater play to rewrite it. So it just stopped it in the beginning. It haven't even started to generate something. So it was the input guardrails triggered. So yeah, in order to do that, additional measures needs to be taken.
Interesting. Going back to the Bill Gates article, right? He says that everything will be AI in 10 years. But Chinese government
and you have the option to do it right now.
But Chinese government wouldn't agree with that. You know why? You know why?
Yeah, I do. Can you explain?
So Yeah, I've briefly read the article you shared. It's how it's called, MIT Technology Review.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's their official publication or not, but thing is that Chinese government approved a lot of different startups, companies, and other businesses that would like to build data center to process uh, data to process um, machine learning models, to run machine learning models, and it seems that they've built a lot, but a lot of what they've built is currently unused. Why? Is it maybe everything is just waiting for another 10 years? At that point, according to what Bill Gates says, everything will
Maybe
be AI.
they are just waiting for the real task to come to them. Yeah, I I guess it sounds. So I'm not sure how biased the MIT review is. But so I, let's say, tend to trust, especially what happens to DeepSeek. Um, by the way, beautiful model, and since it's open source, yeah, it's really capable. Probably it's another economic bubble, but without those bubbles, maybe you cannot really make a proper momentum in such a businesses. So let's say it's like in science, right? You sponsor like thousands of PhD people. Most of their research would probably never really influence the scientific landscape. Some waves on the top of surface, yeah, but really deep and fundamental findings are hard to do. And maybe one of thousand, if he or she achieves a really deep understanding of something, that is really nice effect, I would say. So you have to sponsor all those thousand, right? Yeah, it may be too sarcastic, especially sounds from me. So I was PhD student as well, and finished that stuff somehow. Um, and I saw actually pretty positive examples, and we know that many startups are coming from university fields, where founders are scientists of some sort. Um, I don't know any numbers about how effective they are, how economically profitable they are. Hard to judge. But again, sounds like without having them, you cannot bring momentum, knowledge sharing. You cannot create, let's say, new markets around that without investing money. So I'm pretty sure that in the moment where those Chinese startups and companies were trying to get some GPUs, and there are sanctions all around and tariffs now, right? It was hard. I'm pretty sure there were like chains of people sitting in the queue just to get some percentage of like this whole longer chain, right? So the longer the chain is, the more percentages you gain. Is it helpful for economy? I'm not sure. So if we think like in future, is it really profitable for the market? Hard to say, right?
It's hard to talk about market when we talk about Chinese government agency that approves all this stuff. For well, what if you ask me? You didn't ask, but I will answer that asked question. I think. Thank you. Uh, I think that if, for example, if these buildings, these data centers, are not processing anything right now, the best thing to do with them is to provide access. If you don't want to provide access to them for like outside world, give access to your own institutions within a country. Let people process or train models like on large scale. Maybe, by the way, this DeepSeek, it's hard to name it properly. Maybe this DeepSeek model was trained using these data centers, right? Because they like, I don't know, won some tender or government contract, or it doesn't matter. The thing is that if you have this hardware right now and it's like it's there, you can use it. I think we should use it. Otherwise, in 10 years' time, there won't be much sense in that. Like, what happened to the graphical cards and processors for mining bitcoins? Like there, it was huge. It was like it was booming, but a lot of them, according to my knowledge, a lot of devices were hidden and stocked in storages because people couldn't afford to buy them. And like, but what's the point? We Is it really the thing that we are creating some stuff, producing some goods just because we want to warm up the economy?
Yeah, hard to talk about economy, right? When we talk about the systems that, I mean, doesn't really expose much statistics outside. And the market, Chinese market itself is so huge that, I mean, there could be a lot of stuff happening inside, right? Like inside the sun. And we only see like photons that go out a million years toward us. So it's hard to judge anything. And you said one phrase like, are we creating goods? So that's an interesting question. Is just having a GPU already that you can resell, upsell, sell this GPU time is good for economy? Hard to tell, right? And for example, DeepSeek model, it's a foundational thingy where a lot of tech tricks were invested. It basically gave a huge spin to the market at the moment, right? So was it helpful for economy? Not sure if it helped. Maybe it was helpful definitely for people who created DeepSeek, but it's all like the model that you can freely use. So is it helpful for society? Yeah, probably yes. But when it comes to all those huge GPU computations, I'm not sure. Similar to like, and I have maybe it's kind of a, how do you call it, leftist echo kind of vision that the devices we use are using like maybe 1% of the, like really what we can do with them. And that's why it's a nice bridge to what was started with all these Boeing computations. So it's maybe somehow egoistic, but I'm kind of happy when I see that these tasks that this MacBook is working on are about some like cancer.
Apple MacBook M4 Pro.
That those tasks are coming from some projects about cancer treatment generally. So it's those World Community Grid is most about ecology or medical problems. So where I kind of believe that the outcomes are helpful for society. Whether, let's say, in comparison to many things around us, the energy still, for that computation, still doesn't cost much, but maybe the effect is much higher, let's say, for a future. So maybe those GPUs will be eventually used for the good of society, but that's definitely very difficult to predict. And
yeah, I'm just thinking that if they're staying and not being used right now, they're getting older and they're aging, and you won't be able to get as much results as today in 10 years time using the same hardware. So this is just...
I tend to agree here because very similar to what happens, what, as you mentioned, like happened to this crypto digging devices, mining devices, sorry. Especially not for GPU cards, by the way. GPU cards, like, after very heavy usage, they could still, like, with a huge discount, be used for gaming, maybe. But I heard stories. I don't know the reference, man. I should be ashamed, shall I?
Who knows?
But you should.
Who knows? They know. You know.
Okay. If there is a need to explain, there is no need to explain. Yeah. So those cards could still have been used for gaming, maybe with a huge discount. However, there were also another type of devices, ASIC, ASIC, I guess, right?
Yeah. This is the ones that I were talking about.
So they were like specialized TPUs, I would say, something like tensor processing unit, something like that. So it's very specialized process, right? You cannot use them for anything but crypto mining. So, and those are completely outdated. And I would imagine that it's really harsh and difficult for NVIDIA, for example, to come up with a new, really like incredible devices every year. And we also know that how long we are far away from Moore's law now. Like, well, when does it stop? Did it stop? Sorry. I guess it's really hard to judge. For me, maybe I'm like getting old or whatsoever. On one side of things, I'm like, yeah, I need to get on the hype of, say, massive GPU computations and how to fine-tune your LLM on your mobile phone like today. Otherwise, I will lose my job, for example, without having this knowledge. And on the other side, and maybe this is like a middle-age crisis coming to my head, is thinking like, okay, that's just another wave coming. So on average, we know that most people will survive it. We saw that during COVID. It was like dramatic situation with a huge disconnect, with a lot of people actually dying, right? And that was horrible situation that I never saw in my human lifetime, and in many human lifetimes. Like no one saw such a huge disruption of production chains and traveling. I mean, traveling is actually less of a problem. Production chains suffered. So the whole global economy just stopped almost. And we are here like discussing about fancy GPUs. So that makes me thinking, oh, okay, that's another hype. Definitely
much pricier on American market.
True. Yeah, true. But yeah, that's like observing a storm, like sitting in a comfortable flat, is just okay until the storm doesn't destroy the flat. Yeah, maybe just slow thinking, I would say. And definitely in any of those crises, there are certainly some people and a less percentage that can earn some money, maybe crazy money. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're not one of them. But who knows? Maybe we should invest into some very specialized biological processors of some sort. So because when AI will do much of the stuff, and we just need food that is grown massively by AI and robots, and we have our candles to have a light, just a bit of light. I mean, wouldn't need more, right? And we don't need electricity anyway. So in those times, maybe what we can sell, I mean, our data is already like on the market. No one cares. AI knows everything about us. The only thing that can propose to AI is probably our biological brain that can maybe outsourced, be severed, and outsourced to do even more computations.
I had a really interesting conversation earlier today about Severance series, and the person who I was talking to said that it's really they didn't watch it, but the whole idea, they said, is really nice. When you can go to work, forget about anything, just focus on work because it's very productive for your employer. And then when you go back home, you don't know anything about your work, you don't care, you don't have any level of stress that you gain there. You just with your family doing the things. So it can look nice if you look from the bird's eye view.
Mm, I why is our podcast actually should be about data, but it's kind of philosophical rant of two old men.
It has small talks in its title, so
Yeah,
I
we are
think
like
it checks out.
we are no typical podcasters, you know,
We are not.
guys with birds and mics. So wanted to say that I just thought about such a thingy recently, like this week. What if my job would be something completely different and I couldn't do that at home? Say I'm working on production site. As soon as I left it, there is no chance for me to think about that, hopefully. I'm not anyhow emotionally attached or whatever. And it's interesting, like this whole actually pandemia was one of the reasons, and also like the whole IT world tends that like forces intrinsically maybe forces you to continue your stuff at home. And I'm maybe also like a victim of that thing. So where my hobby being my work in the same time. And probably it's very unhealthy. Who knows? Do I enjoy that? Yes. But I don't have like A/B tests, unfortunately, myself. What I would do that differently? Yeah.
You can do A/B tests on the hair, individual hairs of your beard.
Yeah, I can. and here, actually, I got questioned like last week 3 times. Is it colored or not? Please leave a comment if you think it's colored or not. And I said, okay, that looks bad. So the recent like hidden stress there probably actually influences the health in very bad manner. Yeah, it's hard to even stop thinking of some problems, because problems that we have at work are easy to solve. Like we know what to do. We can create a meeting, discuss stuff, maybe even write some code, maybe do something. But dopamine level can be increased quite effectively. And when it comes to like us thinking, okay, what should we do now with this Chinese GPU under usage problem? Our mind is probably too small for solving that, and our life is probably too short to even do something with that.
We can run model on these GPUs and ask it what should we do with these GPUs.
I mean, we can ask that right now, like to ask DeepSeek about the situation. So yeah, and for those who don't watch it and touching the grass, and definitely that's surely better. And same question applies to us right now. Like, why after 25 hours of meetings in this whole week, on Friday evening, we are doing what we do right now? Because
I think we enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, I do enjoy solving certain tasks at job. It's really increasing dopamine level, and it's a nice paved way to increase it. So if I would tomorrow have to create some candles, I would probably be very frustrated with me not being able to do anything. But it takes time to master it, all that stuff, and eventually I will definitely enjoy.
And became candle master.
Then, like, that hit me actually. Like, it's this kind of A/B test and is like not possible, and I don't want to test it. So I would say it reflects somehow the discussion we had some of the previous episode about episode 0 about the burnout machine, right? Burnout episode 0.
Burnout machine sounds like a game title.
Yeah, or like a metal band.
Burnout machine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to like to scream properly. I'm a bit afraid to do that with this mic because it's probably too much gain now. So that boils down for me that so burnout is very very personal thing. So and I'm sure there are some models to predict it, but it again boils down to the individual like story of a person, as we say, patient history, um, yeah, to the childhood, to the structure of a mind, which is largely different for neurotypical and how it's called, neurodivergent. I'm not sure about the terms here, so don't want to hurt anyone. Um, so you're playing Tetris, right? Oh, Tetris
No.
plays itself.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. So you are not needed.
That's a
Humans,
beautiful game.
yeah, it is. It is. Um,
When you say when we how we call it patient history, I thought, do Candlemasters really call this patient history?
yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't spoke, so I honestly, personally, don't know people from construction sites. So I never had a chat about the burnout and tiredness after work. So if you would ask me to like go and I mean maybe do candles 8 hours a day, I don't know. Really, I seriously don't know. Maybe I will enjoy it so much that I will never do any kind of a podcast and I'll do a podcast only about candle mastering. That's it. I really don't know. I just realize that my mind tends to the ways, known ways to get dopamine. So in this case, it's like, okay, I had meetings. I get some dopamine. I get some adrenaline with that. So podcasting also gives some kind of very cool emotions, uh, probably something to share. And actually, there is a lot which comes to like idea of sharing with society eventually. Also, it also comes to an idea that uh, it was opposite some years ago for me. That if one stands up and says something to public, that one will definitely be punished or punched in the face or like criticized in any possible manner. But then I realized, I mean, maybe would I do that? Not really. And I know there are people that really try to do that, but maybe that's exactly the middle age crisis. Like, oh, okay, so it just waves on the surface. So instead of waiting for a wave to come, we can create our own. Anyway, too much of personal philosophy right now. I have to have a pause right now. So can I leave a mic to you, Alex, and ask you to start about very fancy topic that blew my mind. Like seriously, it's amazing about some radio and about some spectrum machines. That's something I didn't know about.
Do we have time for that?
Uh,
I must ask this question.
we can leave it for next time because it's yeah. Spoiler alert! It's something that I didn't know. It's like,
Really?
yeah, never, man.
So then it's definitely a good topic for.
Yeah.
I would prefer to leave it for the next time. We can talk about this interesting way of downloading games. And what is happening maybe on today's game market.
Mm,
Briefly, just
just 1
little
hour.
light touch. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a really nice conversation, and it 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 is in our minds, right? All this AI stuff. I don't know how it's with you, but for me, it's all the time throughout the day. It comes to my head, comes to my mind, and I cannot stop thinking about how it can end. I mean, it can end economically because there won't be a point to continue this growth. But at the same time, it can end in very different ways, like how much our daily life will change. What usual devices? Can you imagine yourself wearing a, I don't know, smartwatch or having a pocket computer in your hand, like say 20 or 30 years ago? it was something from the books, something from the movies, and world is changing, and we will try to continue think about it and try to not lose the connection to the reality. So
Yeah, so true. And whatever reality is, right?
exactly, that's the point. But we will know sooner or later.
Yeah, just observing.
Cool, great. I think
Great.
that's it for today, and see you later.
Yeah, for everybody who listens, enjoy the
And
weekend.
watch it.
And yeah, hopefully watch it. Enjoy the weekend if you're watching it at the weekend. And yeah, see you next time.
Bye.
I need a pause right now.